Hello, dear student. This is Amir Khan, your social studies teacher. Today, our topic is on the earlier Muslims. Where you will learn about the earlier military expansion of the Muslims to the west, north, and east from Arabia. We will look on through maps and we'll look how the expansion of the Muslim dynasties were expanded to different parts of the in European, in African, and other part of the world. Then we will also look for the significance of Umayyad and Abbasid period. Then we will look on the effects of Crusades and Muslim rules, how they were affected at the time period, and what they learned from each other. So first, if you look over here, that the Umayyad was the first dynasties of the Muslim, where they were expansion from Arab to Spain, right now Cordoba. So this expansion was from Arab of the Muslim. This was the in the map you can look over here. These are the dynasties of the Umayyad. Then this is about the Abbasid period, where after Umayyad Abbasid come to the power. This were the expansions of the Muslim. Here you can look also on that European country in Spain and other parts over here. That was Umayyad. The same you will find somehow different from that Abbasid period. Then we can look from here that Fatimid period. It is also on mostly their capital was in Egypt, and in Abbasid their capital was in Baghdad, and over here in Umayyad the capital was before Cordoba, and after that was changed into Damascus. So that was in a time period of Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan. They changed that capital into Damascus. So in Syria. So these were of the expansions. Then you will look over here that Byzantine period over here, that were also over here. Then Seljuks time period, you can look over here, where they were mostly in the Central Asia at the time. We call these areas as a Persian. Right now Afghanistan's are located on that region. Then we will look from here the another dynasty through the map, that is about the Ayyubi time period. It's here. Then Abbasi, that it was a different time periods. So Salahuddin Ayyubi, who was considered the Crusader time as hero of the Muslim in 11th to 13th century. Then the Mongolia, that they were also a great role for the Muslim in 13th or 14th century. The Mongols were changed into Muslims. So then we look over here the Ottoman, that were the emperor, which was starting from 1281 to 1924. They were finished. Mostly the Ottomans were from the Turkish origin. So these were that time periods of the Ottoman emperor. So we will first of all come on over here that Umayyad period of time. In Umayyad period, we well known about that they were also the capital was in Spain. They expanded their dynasty to Spain. Then what happening over here? They constructed that Cordoba University, which was in the capital of Spain right now, Cordoba. That was the largest institution of education for the Muslim. Then what happening over here? Then the first caliph was Umayyad emperor was the Muawiyah, when he took control or moved to the capital of the emperor of Medina and Damascus and in Syria. We before discussed this one. And once the Umayyad and control began to the conquer new land. So these were the mostly that Khilafat times of that Umayyad in Cordoba. This was on the map. This is the Cordoba University at the time, and these were their own construction and their Muslim arts of constructions were there. You can look over here. These are still in Cordoba. Then what happening over here in the Umayyad time period, that these constructions were also built in Umayyad time period. And then what happened that what happened that after that Umayyad, that who come to the power, that Abbasid come to the power in the time of 18th century, that time period of Abbasid were considered to be the age of wealth and culture. It's mean learning and education was every place in the time period of that Abbasid, like House of Wisdom, which were called at that time Baitul Hikmah. So that was also a very important role for the Muslims. Two main persons were rulers were called that Harun Rashid and his son Mamun were the great ruler on Abbasid time period. And one thing I'm telling to you that over here they were working on mathematics in education field. They were mostly work over there. They start House of Wisdom in Baghdad, and then what happening, they start working on mathematics, and then they start about other educational purpose. Learning was to for everyone at the time period of that Abbasid. And what happening that Abbasid in the Abbasid emperor was responsible for advance in these. They works on medicine, mathematics, literature, and poetry, art, and publishing. Then in maths we discussed before this. You can look over here that all that were starting in Abbasid time period. How it was declined, that was because of the economical and social and political problem by their own making. So what happening that Haloko Khan from the Mongol, they come in 1258. They capture, they dissolve that Abbasid period of time at that time. Then it was happening that different Islamic dynasties were starting in different parts, where then Ayyubid, which were considered at the time, where Salahuddin Ayyubi actually is his name, who at the time period of 11th or 13th century, where they take the Jerusalem and they captured the Egypt, and they defeat the Crusaders and capture that time in these areas. So it was also called that the hero of the that time for the Islamic, for the Muslims. Then what happening, they Salahuddin also works on schools, colleges, and hospitals. So that's why they were considered him a hero. Then the Mongolias were also that the great leaders who were Chinggis Khan and Halako Khan, and the origin was is from different, but in 13th century they convert into Muslim. Then over here the Ottomans were the origin of Turkish, and among the rulers that that were they work on the Muslim different parts of the Muslim countries. You can look over here in Egypt, Syria, and that part. And also we can look over here, these were Egypt were the very important part for the Fatimid. In the Fatimid, Cairo was the main city for the Fatimid. So these were the rulers where the Muslims were there the Muslim were ruled on different parts of the world, mostly in European countries as well, and also in the Arab country as well. So then we come to over here about how what was the effect that like the Europeans, where the Crusaders and the Muslim learned from that time. You can look over here. The European learned cartography, science, and map. Like they have cartographies to knowing about the map. Then we have different, also they work on navigation, mathematics, steels, and you can look over here, these were in carpet and a better map, glass mineral, Arabic numbers, fine steel of weapons, violin, and then playing cards, chess. Then these were the time period of the Muslims, where the European, the Crusaders were also learned from that. So thank you so much for listening me.